news, and I love Molly Sleuth.
I am the eyes and ears of this institution. Mama don't like tattletales. Who knows? In 1,000 years, even you may be worth something.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Room for one more penny.
Today we face the monsters that are at our door.
I think we live in overstimulated times.
Okie doke. Hello, hello, hello. All right. We have the chat going. We're on Rumble. We're on YouTube. We're on Brandy's channel. We are cooking. Hi, everybody. I am Molly Sleuth. I was a detective and a cop at LAPD for many years. And now I'm just a loser that hangs out with my friends on the internet. But we'll go a little bit more into my background and why we're talking about crime statistics today. And there's actually some pretty juicy tidbits, and as well as some stories from when I was on patrol and as a detective. But let's go around. Chris, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Chris Leland. I'm formerly a roofer, and now I'm a doer of many menial tasks. So that's what I do. Not much else to say. Just here to try to contribute to Molly's show.
Excellent. I'm always fascinated with how you guys introduce yourselves. And Red Pill Preacher, I think so. You're at Supernatural Truth, Dee Doss. Well, you do the show with Dee, who's already died on us tonight. So tell us about your channel that you guys do.
So just a little bit about me. I'm Dr. David Roach. I'm a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, like your bestie. Retired from the Department of Corrections. I worked narcotics 5 years, man tracking and trailing, fugitive recovery, SWAT team captain, or prison emergency response team, extradition. Pretty much you name it, I did it on the badge. Prison magistrate judge, ordained minister, and now own my own executive protection company. My background's in philosophy, at least academically. And as you said, I'm the co-host of Supernatural Truth with Reverend DeAndre Lamar Doss, who's having some technical difficulties tonight. Otherwise, he'd be here with us. And just happy to be here.
Very cool. Yeah, thank you. And then, Randy, we already have a request to see the whole shirt in the chat. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery.
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson. A fellow Virginia.
Anyways, Randy Agard, that's my bestie up there. Molly Sleuth, just met Chris. Nice to meet you. And that's my brother-in-law on the side with that long list of accomplishments. I myself also have a long list of accomplishments. I was a dolphin trainer from the age of, I'm just kidding. I'm former LAPD. I was a United States Marine. That's pretty much it. Nothing spectacular.
And an LAPD patrol cop in Hollywood Division for many years.
For 10 years. 10 years ago.
Just a couple days. No big deal.
On Hollywood, matter of fact.
In Hollywood.
Yep, Hollywood. Circle of One's in the chat and says, "Oh yeah, what's your favorite dolphin movie, Randy?"
Oh, that's easy. Flipper.
It's not,
It's perfect.
Pet Detective.
I'm not even touching that. You
Dolphin
weirdos.
movie.
Okay, so stupid.
Yeah.
So a lot has been going on talking about crime lately in the U.S. News, and specifically crime in the Washington, D.C. area. And you had Trump that threw in the National Guard to be able to help out with the abject ridiculousness that has become Washington, D.C. And there's been this big upheaval about crime. And some people feel that they would like crime to continue and that it's racist to go after crime. It's a little bit crazy. And then they have this commander, Michael Pulliam, who was suspended for cooking the books. But I have some personal stories that I have seen myself personally, and Randy's going to tell us some from LAPD Patrol. This isn't a DC thing, and this isn't a Michael Pulliam thing. This is how the U.S. cooks the books constantly to lull you into the sense that it's not that bad, and it happens on multiple different levels. So we're going to get into it. And also what you do to uncook their books so that we can get some freaking help here and to actually do something about crime instead of just pretending that it doesn't exist. Although, guys, I have to do this. So I was trying to make my thumbnail for today, and I was like, okay, well, what am I going to use? I know I'll have like a police officer like hiding like graphs of statistics or whatever. And so I went on Grok. You guys know I love to make my own stupid things with our faces, but Randy's the only one that gave me a picture of his face. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just use like an AI one because I'm trying. I know my Amish street cred would not like it, but so I pulled up a picture and it just wasn't the right picture. I was trying to find a picture of like an officer with like graphs, like hiding crime statistics or whatever. And so, of course, they give me like the regular like white dude police officer. And so I'm like, yeah, that's not really it. So then you can do a change on Grok and say like, can you just like do this one little change, like make it daytime or make his shirt red or whatever. So all I asked Grok to change about that image was make it a female police officer. And this is what Grok gave me.
I'll buy that for $1.
Greg must be looking through your old photos or something.
And I'm like, could somebody please call LAPD and see if we can get some like Kevlar like pasties or something? Like, what the hell, Grok? Anyway. But so this is kind of like, it sort of goes along with talking about like cooking the books with like crime statistics though, because crime statistics really are just about like bias. Like you want to cook the books in a certain way to make it look like there's less crime or less Hispanic people are committing crime or there's less robberies in your neighborhood. And like through this like creative bias, we can like completely make a different picture. So I do think it's important and also important to just show how to lie with statistics, which...
Bill Gates' favorite book?
Well, what did you say?
Bill Gates' favorite book.
Yes,
Yeah.
Bill Gates. Bill Gates does endorse it on the back of the book. He says, a great introduction to the use of statistics and a great refresher for anyone who's already well-versed in it.
He's in at least one picture with it. It's in a background of one of his pictures. So.
Yeah. Well, so it's not just quasi-mad scientists that lie with statistics. It's kind of everywhere. It's in the media, which is Randy's favorite thing on earth. And but it's definitely with crime. Randy, did you want to tell us a little bit about the history of like CompStat?
So CompStat is comparative statistics. It's easy to manage what's easy to measure. It was started by Chief Bill Bratton. He was chief of NYPD and also my chief for a small amount of time, and him and his other buddy. So it's basically, they have these monthly meetings with the captains and above, and they just go over statistics. Put a cop where the pin is. So there was a 211 on 118th Street, a robbery on 218th Street. Let's get cops there. What they used to have was a shotgun approach. So they would just put cops out, and then cops by themselves would start to go towards where crime has been occurring. The issue with this is identity politics stepped in and they said, we don't want purple people looking bad and we don't want Mormons looking bad. So they started cooking the books and saying, oh, crime is down because of this. Because crime being up causes businesses not to want to move in there or people's property values to go down. And cities like LA, New York City, Chicago, crime got so bad, people just stopped calling in about crimes. They're like, well, cops are not going to show up and I'm not going to get my stuff back. So I don't care. And then kind of to what Molly said, here's the issue with all of this. DC had 10 days with no murders. Now we know who was getting murdered. When you have identity politics, it's more important that purple people get murdered than Trump gets credit for it, or that the criminals all happen to be purple. Here's the issue. They're victimizing. So for that one person you save concerning crime, 99 people get terrorized. They lose their store, they lose their communities or whatever. Quick story. I used to work executive protection downtown LA. People would come in, they'd steal from the store, and everybody's like, well, they just want bread to feed their families. Well, these stores would get closed down, and then the community loses that store. Most of the people that work in there are like brown women. When I say brown women, I mean like they're Hispanic, Latina, LGBTQ, Black women. Now they've lost their job. Communities lost their store. And wow, whoopee, we made sure that we got some heroin for a crackhead. And you're just not the hero. So if you guys got any questions on it, as far as like how CompStat works, like an arrest gets made, it goes to detectives. But I'll let Molly cover all that stuff, or David Lee chime in on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Bratton was a man's man. He was a pretty good chief. And it was effective because at the time that he enacted it, and this was like 20 years ago, LAPD was allowed to do more proactive policing. You see a shitbird and you stop him and you find out where's he going, what's he doing, blah, blah, blah. And you get guns and dope and everything else out of the car. Now they are still held to that CompStat. And I know when I was a detective at LAPD, like, oh shit, CompStat's coming. And it was just like, can you reclassify these crimes and can you unfound them? And so I know from a patrol perspective, which I also worked patrol for many years, there's many ways to dissuade people from even making a report. So the CompStats, the computer statistics, they only track reported crimes. And there's certain crimes that they report, these part 1 crimes that we're always talking about, which are like violent offenses and high level property crimes. So it doesn't track everything. We're not like, oh no, the little quickie mart their packs of gum are being stolen over and over again. But something must be done. Like these are only for bigger crimes. And so there's a huge pressure on the commanders, on these captains of each of the 21 geographic divisions for LAPD to lower their comp stats. And how you do that is by reclassifying, dissuading people from making reports, unfounding reports, and it happens at every level. Now, I lived in the city of Los Angeles for 45 years. I had my car broken into like 6 times in 1 year was my like top limit. But it's been broken into many times. And I've only reported it like 3 times when there was something really significant stolen from my car, or I felt like there was some furtherance that they could go find the guy. And nobody was ever caught. And so what that does is it dissuades me from even calling 911, because what's the point? They're going to show up super late. They're going to give me a bunch of attitude about making a report because I shouldn't have left the Hope Diamond on the front seat of my car. They're not going to do anything about it. Nobody ever calls me. They've never found any of my stuff. What is the point? And this happens with every business owner and every citizen in the city of Los Angeles. I'm just going to speak for LA, because we're just so used to crime. We're so used to graffiti. We're so used to some like drunk hobo screaming in the middle of the street at 4:00 in the morning. We are used to people banging on our windows, give me $1 when we're in traffic. We're used to all that small stuff, and it just doesn't get reported. So if there aren't pins on the map, then there aren't officers being directed to that area. So then what you're relying on is proactive policing, which they have now taken away through the Summer of Love and all the defund the police bullshit. Now, what Bratton had, though, was he had the push and the backing of the city. Yeah, we want you to stop these shitbirds. We want crime to be done. There was a lot of proactive policing, and there were actual arrests and we put people in jail, and it wasn't all this kissing off and kissing off. And so although it started as a good thing, now all it is can you cook the books more than you cooked it last month? And so, okay, so Randy, give me a couple of scenarios. I call the police, you actually show up. So we've gotten that far. Now, how do you kiss off a report or not take a report for me?
So what people don't understand about policing is it's not just the two officers in the car. So I show up, Red Pill Preacher has punched Chris in the face, but Chris, he knows martial arts, he kicked him back. So I don't want to take a report. I'm about to get off. Hey, Chris, it was mutual combat. I take him, I got to take you. So I get rid of that. I go to Molly's place. Her front window of her place has been broken, destroyed. You know what, Molly? Did you really see somebody go in there? Yeah, all my stuff's all over the place. Yeah, but somebody might have broken the window and might have been some homeless people. They were shuffling around. We have no idea. Okay, Red Pill Preacher calls me back and he's like, I actually have a concussion. So now I take the report. I hand it up to some detective. Detective's like, do you know his medical history? Maybe he had that concussion from before you got there. They kiss off. Say it doesn't get kissed off. It goes up to district attorney and they're like, it seems like a pretty good case. We're going to file it. Everything's going to go well. We're going to go ahead and put Chris in jail. Well, here's the issue. Chris is bald-headed, and bald-headed people's lives matter. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it to this one judge, and this one judge is like, I'm really progressive, and I don't like all of these bald people going to jail. Community service. It just became a murder. Red Pill Preacher died. Yeah, you know what? You're right. So we're going to give him 5 years of probation for some lowered charge. And I know I'm simplifying it, but I don't want to say it was 187 and then they got kicked up to detectives and all this other stuff. I'm giving you guys a simplified version of how it gets destroyed within the same system that's here to protect you. So let's say Red Pill Preacher doesn't get killed by Mr. Baldhead up here. He's seeing him all the time. Now you're having witness intimidation issues, or maybe they're in rival gangs, and it's just continued. The process could have been stopped had we stopped it, but it wasn't because we didn't stop it. I know it sounds simple, but that's what it is.
Or they could be like some kind of quasi friends. It's like, come on, you know that you're not going to go testify against him. And you pushed him too. I mean, he could file charges against you and now you guys are both going to jail. Is that what you want? Or, you know, he could say that he has an injury and now we've documented that we talked to you. You know, I think that you guys are just going to make up and I don't think that it's a big deal. I think this was just a big misunderstanding and he didn't mean to steal your wallet. It's just that you owed him and from some other drug deal. There are so many ways that the report never even gets made. Never mind citizen's arrest. Like, are you sure that you're going to, because sometimes these trials can last weeks and you're going to take off work from your shitty job to go sit and testify against him for what? I mean, you can't get unpunched, but you can get paid if you go to work. I have seen it. And so there are so many ways that you can not make the report happen. Now, if the report does happen, there's only so many crimes that actually even get assigned to a detective, at least in terms of Los Angeles Police Department. And those are felony crimes and very few misdemeanors, which would be like a misdemeanor domestic violence battery has to be filed. So then I get assigned these cases, and then it's my job, if there's any way to reclassify these crimes, to do so. And so you end up taking like, okay, so you reported a burglary. And so, okay, I hear you're still crying. Okay, just get it together for a second. Did you go in the house? Okay. Oh, you haven't gone back yet because you're scared? Okay. And so so the window was broken, but you don't know if anybody got in? Okay, great. So we're just going to call this a vandalism. And now we've reclassified it, and it's no longer a Part 1 crime. And we're done with it. Or, okay, there was somebody moved some stuff around, and you know what? I know it was my ex-boyfriend because he said that he was going to kill me and blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, so it's a civil disagreement about a broken lease. Okay, so it's no longer a crime. So there are all these ways that things get reclassified or unfounded. This isn't a crime. I do my 314.
How does it, when somebody goes in and gets like a plea deal and they plea down to a lesser charge or something like that, so they like throw out some charges, and like how does that affect it? Because I know it does. I've had that argument with other people that were making the claim that certain people are getting punished more than others, and like, well, you got to take into account the pleading down to a lesser charge. They might, let's say if they had weapons on them or something, they'll say, well, drop the weapons charge, but you got to take the max on this drug charge. So that kind of can skew or change the statistics a lot. So it's
huge. And I mean, I've worked armed robbery. They pled. Sorry, go ahead.
I said, may I interject about that? So what Chris is talking about, like would be the DA or the Commonwealth Attorney, like in this state, a Commonwealth state, extending a plea agreement, or as we said in an institutional setting, a penalty offer. That penalty offer process is so much more streamlined and easy to deal with. And if you can get that subject to cop to something that is not as severe, it keeps them out of that disciplinary process or the legal system, and you can pad your books that way. So this kind of goes to the, hiding statistics type thing. Yes, we all know the crime occurs, but to what degree and to what severity has this happened? So, I mean, I'm not sure about how California works, which you and little Randy police officers in, but here in Virginia, you've got like class 4 felonies, class 3 felonies, class 1 misdemeanors, et cetera, et cetera. So depending on what that is, you don't even go to circuit court. You go to general district court. Or even if it's manslaughter and with a vehicle, you're in traffic court. So all these things factor in to the classifications of the numbers, and these judges, these Commonwealth attorneys, these district attorneys are all looking to put numbers in specific boxes that are going to benefit them politically. Because anybody who's appointed and not elected, you can guarantee there's a flim-flam going on somewhere down the line.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what's happening in Washington, D.C. right now, although they suspended that one commander.
Yes.
It coincidentally occurred that their police department threw him under the bus.
Of course.
A week after he made a formal complaint against the assistant chief of the police department. So he's saying, listen, I didn't cook the books. this is how our system works. We reclassify things. And honestly, yeah. Hey, I came home, my window was broken. Like, I figured somebody broke into my house, but I went on the camera and I saw that actually it was a tree limb that came in, and, and the tree limb was taken away by a rabid raccoon. And so there wasn't a crime. Okay, yeah. There is a reason why we reclassify an unfound crimes. But the problem is that for the vast majority of it, it does get used to try to make your city appear safer. And so that's the problem with it.
That's the reason. You just hit the crux of it when it comes to the politics of it.
Right.
These powers that be, whether it be Democrats, Republicans, Independents, they want their city that they are quasi in rule over to appear safer.
Right.
To get that tax revenue coming in. It doesn't make a damn to them whether or not it actually is safe.
Yeah, their
They
policy
want it to appear safe. Go ahead, Chris. What'd you say, bro?
I said their policy failed. They need to lie about it.
Yeah.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's right.
That's called that's rules for radicals.
Right.
Lie. Keep lying and do it sticks.
So tourism gets
so many
affected.
people are getting out. Sorry, Randy, go.
Yeah, so California is experiencing what's the opposite of migration? Like everyone's leaving.
Look at
Exodus.
Yeah, Exodus.
Exodus.
Yeah.
We're having
Exodus.
because everyone's lying and saying, "Oh, crime is down." I was on the streets when they said, "We love thugs. Let's defund the police," and you could hear people screaming. And it's like, you can't lie about getting your watch stolen from you. And so this is something Molly knows. When you get a code 3 call, like, you get there as soon as you can. It took an hour from the station to get to maybe two miles away. And this was like after the summer of love, as Molly calls it. Well, that's what it was called. They get there, it's an hour later, and the guy's like, "You want to report? Because nothing's going to happen." And I'm like, after I said, "I don't want to report," he said, "What'd you call us for?" And I'm like, "You're the one who's trying to talk me out of taking a report." But it goes back to what Chris and Red Pill Preacher are saying. It appears safer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, even
Perception
Chicago
is the key. People want to perceive or have the perception that, oh, everything's okay. I live in a metropolitan area. Everything's fine. I can walk down the street at night. When in fact, you can't. But the media, which is owned by 5 companies, will tell you every day, "Oh, it's perfectly fine to perfectly fine to go to Grand Central Station. Hey, little Randy, it's perfectly fine to go to Redondo Beach Pier and hang out at night." When you know damn well that you're going to get your shit pushed in if you down there after hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that brings me to Chicago, that has 3 times the national average for homicides, but they're reporting that their crime has gone down 33% in 2025. I can tell you the last time I was there, or the last 2 times I was there, I pushed one of my friends into a vestibule to get away from this crazy guy who was swinging a knife and screaming. And then the last time we went to a Skinny Puppy concert at the House of Blues, and the very next night, and there were all these guys there that were like trying to panhandle, and they like throw a piece of paper in your face and you can't walk past them until you give them money. And they had assaulted us like on the street corner, actually like right where there was like blood on the sidewalk, and some guy was being taken that had been knifed from panhandlers. And so the next night after the concert, Skinny Puppy played again at the House of Blues, and this time they tried to get money from a guy that was leaving the concert. He said no, and they killed him right there on the sidewalk. Now, there was what kind of a car was it? It was a police car that was parked right there off of Michigan Avenue, and it literally had a dummy in it. I should have found the picture, but it literally had a mannequin with a baseball cap like sitting in the car, like as some kind of decoy. But like as you're walking by, you're like, well, now that I know that there's a fucking decoy on the street, I guess it's time to start robbing people because they aren't putting any human bodies on this street. And so like I mean, I guess like when I worked as a police officer for Grand Rapids Police Department, we were all single man cars because it looks like there's more cops in the area. The problem with that is that if you're getting stabbed, I'm coming from one end, Randy's coming from another end, and we have to coordinate it. So it's like it's going to take longer for response because we have to show up at the same time. And that makes it less safe for the people of Grand Rapids. Like, it's crazy. I know it looks like there's more cops, but they're not able to do as much shit as when you're sitting in the car with somebody and someone's running plates and somebody's driving, which is what LAPD was.
And what do you do when you got a geographical area, like, for example, the county that is adjacent to us, where I live, the county which when I work executive protection, it's 770 square miles. And between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m., there is 7 police officers working. You divide that up when you do by sector, and you tell me what the response time is. If you got your ass in a sling, it's 6 to 7 minutes minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum. And then when you do get there, like if I have to call, I don't call, I'll be honest with you. I give people, when I interact with them on executive protection, I give them 3 options: home, hospital, or holding cell. Those are the 3 options you get. And you're going to pick between those 3. And most people pick home when you keep it real with them. But in these major metropolitan areas, you can't do that because the powers that be have you so PC and so woke that you have to cater to everybody's needs and their feelings instead of the little old lady who just got her purse jacked, and you know who the perp is, and you can't go tune them up. It's not like it was 20 years ago. You know, now you have to be mindful because there's one of these cameras on every corner, and somebody, some slip and fall lawyer is going to get after you because you hurt the suspect and not the victim. Am I right, everybody? I mean, I got at least 2 cops on me that know what I'm telling you is true.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
I mean, it's gotten a lot trickier with this like whole hug a thug idea of how you community police.
Molly, I had a warden one time. Matter of fact, when I got out of the Marine Corps, my first warden, Patty Lee Huffman, we had opened a brand new Supermax facility. They called her Warden Hug a Thug. This is 2001.
Wow.
We're 20 plus years later. How far down the tracks have we came?
Yeah, huge. And one thing I wanted to ask you is, of course, I mean, my estimation, there's what you did, there's what gets reported, what gets identified, what I can ask for charges on, what I can file charges on, what actually gets filed, what gets convicted, what gets sentenced, what gets served, and basically now you're at the core of the earth. But I think, don't you see people in prison bragging about all the crimes that they totally got away with?
Oh, 100%. Well, let me give you an example, if I may. So my experience ranges from the street to behind the bars, right? So in my time working narcotics, for example, I was on the drug interdiction unit. So I caught a female inmate, Supermax now. This chick had been in there for some heinous shit, right? So she's smuggling OxyContin. Now, this is not Percocet. This is OxyContin. Back during the OxyContin epidemic. She's smuggling 90 milligrams. So that's $100 or $90 on the street. That's a pill inside, which is automatically 100% markup. $900 a pill. Now she's smuggling whole scripts of 30 into this facility from a visitor, giving them to her. She's putting them in an M&M bag, shoving up her kitty cat, and she's going back to the dormitory and pulling these pills out and sell them for $900 per pill. And these people putting them on her books and basically money laundering. I popped this chick for smuggling, have a letter. Now I have a letter confiscated from her cell asking her visitor to bring the pills to her in writing with her signature. Let me tell you what happens. So because the facility was brand spanking new, right? Like a shiny new dime, they buried that case. The evidence disappeared. The warden stayed in power. I called the special agent, because we all had arrest powers. I called the special agent in charge over the weekend for the entirety of the state of Virginia. They told me to take those pills, confiscate, because I caught them on the visitor. And we had traced her phone calls, listened to them, had her mail correspondence through the federal mail system. I had her dead to rights. I could have put her in the gallows. And guess what? They buried it because of publicity on their brand new state-of-the-art facility. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. When I worked LAX, I worked the checkpoints, LAX International Airport, and I worked the checkpoints, vehicle checkpoints, before people would get to the airport. And I got them felony warrants. I got them felony crimes. I got them possession of firearms. I got this one truck that was full of all these like canisters of gas because he was going to pick someone up from the airport and he didn't know their name. And I'm like, why would I let you into the terminal? You are not driving into the airport, sir. Turn that shit around. And every single time they were like, let him go, let him go, let him go. Because the checkpoints are just sort of like for show, like, oh, look, we're super secure. But we were letting literal guns and like big canisters of unknown gases like go into the terminal of the airport because we want to look secure, but we don't want to stop the functionality of Los Angeles International Airport. That makes the city a lot of money, and all these little arrests don't. And
Molly, I'll tell you, I've seen that firsthand myself. For 5 years, I was on the Central Virginia Regional Drug or Narcotic Task Force. And for 5 years, we did drug interdictions at all the jails, airports, bus stations, and local facilities during visitation. And there are 5 items that in 5 years, our unit, which was a 13-man team, never failed to get. They were child pornography, narcotics, weapons, whether it be edged, firearms, incendiary, whatever, outstanding warrants, so 29s, okay, and potential warrants. All 5 of those areas. I did it for 5 years, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and in every single scenario, we never not found at least 75% of those, and that's at major facilities, correctional facilities, federal facilities, buses, or airports.
You got CP making its way into the prison? Are you serious?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to be honest with you. So I found a Department of Homeland Security employee.
Yeah, they're all over the Pentagon. We had a whole bunch of shit they found in the Pentagon. So.
Oh, hear me. Two hard drives in the trunk of his car with the most vile, perverted sex acts you can imagine.
Is my ears turning red?
Let me tell you, the state police, they didn't even file charges. They turned that man around and had him drive out of the checkpoint because he flashed his Homeland Security ID.
It was Homeland Security that had the mannequin in the car. I took pictures of the whole car. It was Homeland Security car. I'll have to find
Where's
it.
that
If you
Epstein
want to
list?
see a picture of it, I'll find it. Email me. I'll send it to you.
You understand what I'm telling you, right?
Yeah. Well, so I guess it's interesting. And Chris, I wanted you to talk about how when they were running the crime statistics, I don't remember, it was just a couple years ago. I don't know if it was 2020 but it was a recent year where they failed to the FBI was carrying these crime statistics. And 4 of the most crime-ridden cities in the U.S. just didn't turn in any statistics for that year.
Yeah, well, there was a report that came out. I think it was by the FBI. Let me look real quick. But they claim that. Let me look it up here. It's on a tweet.
And I think it was Los Angeles, New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago. There might have been a 5th one, though.
I wonder if I can share this with you.
Let me put on my glasses.
Oh, I can do screen share. Okay, let me try that.
Yeah, screen share.
Okay, is it show? Yeah, so that was a tweet or whatever you call it. And according to the FBI in 2024, murder was down 26.4%, rape decreased 25.7%, robbery down 17.8%, aggravated assault decreased by 12%, reported property crime down 15.1%.
Sure it was.
Yeah, well, the way they managed to do that was they basically just got rid of the 4 highest crime rate cities and didn't add them to the report. And wow, and there you go. Crime rate went down. Magic.
Yeah, the FBI is notorious for being terrible at their crime statistics. In fact, as we're now talking about with this latest loser shooter, we're talking about mass shootings. And the FBI reports that 0% of them were stopped by a civilian with a firearm. 0%.
Well, why is that? That's because every city that these libtards have this stuff pop off in, no average Joe can legally carry concealed for the most part. You try to pull that stuff down here in Buck Tussle, Alabama, or in Madison County, Virginia, and you're going to get that hot lead put in your ass for trying to do
Buck
some
Tussle
of that.
a real place?
Well, I was being facetious, but you understand very well of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The top 10 cities in the country that are crime-ridden, guess what else they have in common? The strictest gun laws.
Yeah, Chicago, terrible. And I don't think I'll go back there. I don't care what they're reporting. I have stood on those streets. I have run from robbers, people with weapons. I have seen blood on the sidewalk. I'm good. And those are just the last 2 times that I've been there. Now, it is interesting to say that the Crime Prevention Research Center says a good guy with a gun stopping a mass is 47.8% of mass incidents.
Yeah.
Stopped by a good guy in 2024. 47.8.
Well, that's historical.
And FBI says none. 0, none.
Well, the FBI is ran by Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who have turncoated the United States citizenry.
Well, yeah, now
not letting out the Epstein list.
These are last year's.
Come on, these people they're going to say whatever they're told to
That's
say
politicians. That's what a
by
politician
their
does.
puppeteers.
Right, but this is pre-cash. This is pre-cash, but it just goes to show
Okay.
that, like,
So who's before
everybody has
cash
a
to tell?
reason.
Some other jabroni, some other puppet from the deep state. That's all they are, puppets. See, it's two wings on the same bird. Whether
You
it be
can't get that
Democrat
job unless you're compromised. You got to be part of
Republican.
them. Yeah.
See, Chris know what I'm talking about.
It's
Yeah, I mean, they definitely want to skew your reality to be able
Sure.
to lull you into a sense of safety, or don't
Yeah.
look behind the velvet curtain. And I know right now there's a big push towards skewing the racial demographics of traffic stops, arrests, incarceration.
it's got a double function. Chaos makes you give over power,
That's
but
it.
peace brings prosperity. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
lie and tell you everything's cool, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
make sure everything's not, so you vote for me, because I promise it's gonna be cool.
Thank you, brother-in-law. See, I knew you were the smartest sibling.
The crazy thing is, Randy, is they can promise the world in the most ridiculous things, and people will go for it. They'll buy into it.
Yes.
I
They
think
tell them
that
what they
we-
want to hear. So you're like, oh, he's gonna kick all the illegals out. No, he's not. He might throw out
No.
some. He's not gonna.
He's going to load up prisons full of families
Hey, they built those
and
FEMA
children
camps. You gotta use them.
for their satanic sacrifices. How about that?
Yeah, you get a lot of children that way, I would imagine. You know, all those
Boom.
completely undocumented children. It must
Yes,
be just
you're
bringing it
part-
right to them.
Chris, you're part of the tribe, bro. You might as well go ahead and drop the mic because you part of the tribe.
Well, but with any statistics, I think you have to have data, and that's part of the problem with having undocumented people, but also in cooking the documents. So I did find there's so many booking photos where they call the person white and they're not white. But I'll just, as I read this story, I'll show you the photos of these suspects that were all deemed white by this is in Texas. So the director of the Civil Rights Clinic at the University of Texas School of Law is talking about how the Texas troopers recorded the race wrong. Texas troopers ticketing Hispanic drivers as white. Yeah, this is in Austin. And they're inaccurately recording the race of large numbers of minority drivers, mostly Hispanic, as white. According to the KXAN investigation, the agency's traffic stop data reveals racial profiling reports are likely flawed. And Sergio Raul Mejia got a traffic citation for having his license plate on the dash of his truck in Georgetown last May. The Texas Department of Safety put his race as white on the ticket. He said he's complaining about it. He says, "That's bad. I'm Hispanic." He was not supposed to put white. You don't think I look white? And then Texas law aimed at preventing racial profiling requires that peace officers determine and document the race of every driver whom they issue a written warning, traffic citation, or arrest during a traffic stop. LAPD, we have the same thing. It's called an FDR.
Yeah.
Randy, do you want to tell a little bit about what FDRs are?
Field data report. So I pull over 3 black guys, 2 white guys, and 1 Asian guy. So when I fill out my, what was the cause of your stop? OBS, traffic stop, officer initiated, whatever the heck. And then I'll get a complaint against me by Red Pill Preacher. He said I racially profiled him. IA will come in and interview me and say, "What's going on? You got this complaint." Red Pill Preacher said you pull him over because he's white. They're going to look through my FDRs and they're going to see, oh, I only pull over black guys, so it's cool. Don't worry about it. Or I only pull over white guys and there's this one black guy who made a complaint against me. Here's the issue with this. You can get in serious trouble as a police officer if you've been pulling over only black or Hispanic or Asian. And the problem with that is people live amongst each other. So if I'm working Compton and Watts, I'm only going to be pulling over black people. or Koreatown, or Little Italy, or Chinatown. But these identity politics morons don't understand that.
Bro, let me tell you, I agree with Little Randy 100%. Let me give you an example. So this is 1999. I'm stationed in Southern California, right? So I got a homeboy who lives in Compton on Crenshaw Boulevard. It's fancy, right? So I'm spending the night with this cat. We're going to the bars, doing what Marines do, right? So exactly. So we go to the Jack in the Box. Everybody who lives in Southern California knows Jack in the Box is where to go when everything closes, right? So we go to Jack in the Box. I'm always shaking her head like she ain't never been to Jack in the Box. Lying to you. She knows you've been to Jack in the Box. So look, we go and everybody's in the Jack in the Box. I'm wearing cowboy boots and a belt buckle. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm shining like a diamond in the midnight sky. You know, ghetto bird flying all around us. Are you telling me that if I committed a crime, you would not have the right as a police officer to say, hey, it was the cracker in the cowboy hat that pulled the gun on the people? This is ridiculous. It works the same way everywhere. Every department, from the smallest to the tallest, does the same thing. Am I not right? Everybody knows I'm telling the truth.
And that's the problem with this audit that they did for all these white arrestees and people who got tickets, because this was in 2010, by the way, but either there's two things that could happen. Is either these officers don't even know what race is, in which case you should be a police officer, because if I call
Molly, they know.
And I describe the person who just climbed out my window and you're like, gosh, I don't know what that kind of person looks like. Guess I better keep driving. Like, you can't have a job.
Exactly.
Sorry,
or they know damn well and they're just cooking the books. I got in a use of force with this female black prostitute that used to stand in the... Randy, I love when you perk up. It just makes me so happy.
That's my fault. That's my fault. I have a tendency to make my brother-in-law perk up.
Yeah.
But they went through all my citations and they said, well, good news is you seem to hate white males a whole lot, because she was trying to say that I only stopped her because of X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I stopped you because you're in the middle of the fucking road. And I already have documented that I've given you like 11 warnings. So you know you can't be in the middle of the road anymore. And so I gave you a ticket for 21953A of the California Vehicle Code, pedestrian and roadway. Get out of the road. It has nothing to do with this, that, or the other. Your body is in the road. I don't care what color it is or what's in your underwear. Get out of the fucking road. And so luckily, although she made a biased policing complaint against me, I had cited more white people. And so you see this happen with police officers where they become kind of gun shy because they don't want to skew their statistics. And
sure, that's everywhere.
Like Randy was talking about like Chinatown, and if you're stopping, so maybe more Asian people live in Chinatown, but I bet you there's more white people blowing through town speeding because they're trying to get from Pasadena to downtown LA and not get on the 5 freeway. So if you are targeting speeders, then you're going to look racist, although I guess you can't be racist against white people, because you're going to be stopping an inordinate amount of whites if you're only targeting that particular crime in an Asian neighborhood, because the Asian people aren't speeding to work. They already live there.
Well, how are you going to target Asian people when they're driving, when they got horses drawing a damn carriage with 2 wheels on it, and then you got these white folks driving Maseratis going down Interstate 5? I mean, I lived in Southern California, and I know I'm telling the truth. And no matter what you say at parties, Randy, you know I'm telling you the truth, right? I mean, now you go to Chinatown, and these cats got Mortal Kombat hats on, and they're driving them. You know, they got They got Hop Sing pulling the cart, and then you sitting there. Look at him. He knows I'm telling the truth. And Molly, you know I'm telling the truth.
You lost me at Asian people on horses. I don't even know what you're talking about.
You know, they think they got this con sitting in there, it's a Hollywood star down there on the boulevard. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about.
On a horse.
As somebody who's
I'm
not
being
ever
facetious.
been a cop or been in a patrol car or anything, I don't know if you guys have like extra abilities or something, but when I'm driving down the road at night, I can hardly tell who the hell's in the other car, what race they are or anything. I can't really tell. How close do you have to really be to know that? I mean, aren't you already in the process of pulling the person over before you really...
Chris, I'll tell you like this. When for me, working dope, if you're facing northbound lane and I already know who I'm looking for, I'm going to find something. If I want them to get on that shoulder of the road where I can run my canine around, which is what I did. I was a canine officer, where I can write that affidavit out saying that, Glocktavius over here has got weed in his car. I'm going to get that affidavit. So I'm going to do whatever is necessary to make sure he's on the shoulder of the road where I can go to the magistrate judge and say, you know what? We found the scent of a narcotic substance that gives us access to his car. I don't give a damn if he's yellow, brown, green, or white. If we know who we're looking for, cops are going to find a way.
Well, I know I've been pulled over by cops that, because I routinely drive shit boxes. So I get pulled over for that, I think, just that alone. But they'll pull you over and I'll ask, why did you pull me over? And he'll look around the car and go, your windshield's cracked. Like you just...
Because they're dumbasses. They don't know what they're doing from the jump street. You see, regular patrol officers are just looking to pad their stats. Like Molly's we've been talking about all night. They're looking to pad their stats because whether it's spoken or unspoken, I don't care what department you're in. You have a quota of how many, especially if you work in patrol, you have to have so many speeding tickets. You got to have so many DUIs. You got to have so many calls for service. You got to have so many of those things before you're going to be standing on the carpet at the end of the day before the chief or for the sheriff and answering for why you're not doing enough to bring enough what? And Chris, you should probably know this better than anybody. Enough revenue in.
Well, so that's interesting that you say that because I worked I was sworn as a police officer in 2 different states, worked for 2 different agencies. And there's jokes about rickshaws in Los Angeles in the chat right now.
Good job, Renee.
Yeah, good job. But we did not have a quota at all. In fact, I remember I used to really love stolen cars. I would run hundreds of license plates a day. And I'm not stopping people for just bullshit chicken shit things. I don't care about your cracked windshield or this or that. I didn't write fix-it tickets. Unless it was a tool to be able to get in the car, find out who's in there. Okay, you're cool. Go, go, go. And then that would just be a warning. I'm not writing anything up. But I did get stopped by one of my sergeants who said that I needed to be writing more tickets. And I said, well, how many more? Well, I can't give you a number. Well, if you can't quantify how many you need, then I guess this conversation is moot. And I'm out there. I'm running hundreds of plates. I am working. But Randy, you can testify. They explain what lettuce in your taco means.
So lettuce in your tacos is, let me grab my paper. So we get a kind of like a sheet just like this, but it's like, if you guys can see, it's pretty much your activity log. So you write, I went to this radio call, I did a traffic stop, and you put the time, the location, the disposition, like what ended up happening. So at the end of the night, you fold up the sheet. And when you fold it up, you put, it's called a greenie. So when you write a ticket, it's got 3 parts. One part's green, one part's yellow. I think one part's like orange. A copy for the customer, the driver, the violator.
The customer.
A copy for the watch commander to turn in with your log. And they call it lettuce in your taco because it looks kind of like a taco. So it's pretty much just greenies. And to what my brother-in-law said, it's not a quota so much as an expectation.
Yeah.
Molly, I don't see you out there doing a lot of work. I notice you're not. Are you crazy? I'm answering all these radio calls. I'm bringing in all these felonies. Yeah, but I'm a sergeant and I like traffic stops. Okay, that's your thing. Molly likes stolen vehicles. Chris likes ob stops. Like he likes talking to pedestrians.
Right.
So.
And if you like dope or guns and like there's a bunch of people like on the cell phone, like I'm not going to fuck around with that. That's like 15 minutes of my day where I could be looking for something bigger in this world. And so she and I had a disagreement about how to police, but ultimately, because there is no quota, there wasn't any way for her to ask me to turn in a single ticket per shift at all. Like if I'm stopping people, then.
And how you get punished is, so Molly and I are working together. How they would punish us without punishing us is maybe we're going on a desk. Well, Chris just got to the division. Why isn't he going on a desk? Well, you and Molly, you guys can go on the desk for this DP. And it's not connected to the quota. Wink, wink. I'm not saying there is. I'm just saying there's ways around it.
Yeah.
There's an official hard number, but you need to bring in some tickets every night or something.
Well, if you're clear for your whole 12-hour shift, you look like a sandbag. But if you have a bunch of stops and radio calls and observation and extra patrol and your log, this daily field activity report, is full of all kinds of stuff that you've been doing, then I don't think it's as important to get a ticket in there. But to what Red Pill Preacher said, now understand arrests cost money. They don't they're not revenue builders. But when it comes to, at least I'm only talking for City of Los Angeles, if I write you a moving ticket, a speeding ticket, that money goes to the state of California. It is not making money for the City of Los Angeles. If I write you a parking ticket, some chicken shit, I am a Los Angeles Police Department officer, given a gun, go fight crime, and I'm writing you a ticket for an expired meter, that money goes to the City of Los Angeles. So they always make sure that you have a parking citation book, because that money goes to your city, and all those written moving violations go to the state.
Oh, Molly, I wanted to say something about that. So we live in this bifurcated system where, again, I'm going to use Red Pill Preacher. He's got this nice car. It's a beautiful car. I write him a citation. He pays. Chris, on the other hand, has this piece of crap beater. It's freaking garbage. He's got drugs in there. I let him go. Why? Because he's not making money for the city. Red Pill Preachers. Same thing as Red Pill Preacher's restaurant. I'm going to go in and I'm going to cite it. Chris, on the other hand, he's cooking hot dogs on the sidewalk. Get out of here. Yeah. Red Pill Preacher has a house and he needs to get some permits for the house so that he can build this crap and that crap. He's got to pay fees, dues, bills. Chris is pooping in front of his house because he's homeless. Leave that guy alone. So This is the kind of crap that destroys cities and civilizations and communities.
Dude, and you remember that used to happen in my neighborhood all the time. Like all the rich cars would get tickets for bullshit that the shitty cars would never get, because those guys aren't going to pay the ticket anyway. So you're wasting your time and you're wasting your ticket book. And yet my car, which was a nice like 2-seater kind of hot rod sort of car, got completely wiped out by some absolute a-hole, some criminal gangster piece of garbage, took the front of my car out. And so while I was waiting for my car to get towed, I got a ticket for not having a front license plate. I didn't have a front of my car. Like, I got a ticket for not having a front license plate displayed. When I had my rear plate displayed, my VIN wasn't covered.
There's a pile of trash there. That way they couldn't have ticketed you.
Right. Meanwhile, Willie the Pimp with his 72 Chrysler is getting by with shit And Molly's sitting there with her 84 Buick Regal. You know, she's going to court over a dead inspection.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yes.
You understand?
It's just stupid. I just wanted to show another disparity in reporting while I have it in front of me. So we all know that like now they're calling them teens, like all these like takeovers and like jewelry heists and all this crazy stuff that's happening. It's like we're not reporting on some people's race, which is stupid. But I just pulled up this LA Times article of some guy that was arrested in LA. Now, he was wanted in Washington, so this isn't even like an LA crime. I lost my glasses on my head again. And so, but not only do they show you a picture of the dude, but they tell you that his name is Alexander Lee Rogers, and he was wanted from Longview, Washington. But this is being reported by the LA Times. And they're going to dime out this white guy. No problem. He was a piece of shit. He got caught. He's good. But then this other one, Brad Pitt's home, just a stupid crime. Brad Pitt's home was broken into and, it was ransacked and, Brad Pitt, blah, 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 blah. And 4 people were arrested. No further information. Like, well, who are the fucking 4 people? These are 4 people that live in the city of Los Angeles. This should be reported. This is a local thing that we should all be on the lookout for these 4 people. And so nothing. I went report. I had to do a lot of digging before I found the 4 names. 2 of them are juveniles, so I will just say they had very stereotypical black names. Are they black? I don't know. I didn't see pictures of them. But the 2 adults were Jaquari Watson and Damari Charles. And so they are in a gang, and they are also wanted. Why are you laughing? I tried my best.
Well, because you're obfuscating the truth. Jaquarius and Gloctavius were probably in Crip or Blood.
Jaquari Armand Watson and Damari Zaire Charles. Anyway, and then their 2 little homeboys. But they're in a gang together. And Randy, I love you. But these guys are casing my, Swedes. Yes, they're Swedes. Thank you. The chat has decided.
They're Swedes.
Okay, but they are Los Angeles or California gang members that are actually breaking into homes. It would be so much better to, instead of like showing me 17 pictures of Brad Pitt, which I've seen enough in my lifetime, okay, thanks, bye, that show me what they look like. Because like, oh shit, that guy had a red hockey jersey on. That's just like this crime. Or like, oh, that looks like the guy that broke into my house. Hello, my detective? Yeah, I think these guys were the ones that were caught at Brad Pitt's house. Like that would be a public service to make that public. Not that some dude who was wanted in Longview, Washington, that was arrested.
That kind of censorship has reached down to the low like community level. For example, Holt had a local community page and the person posted on there, we're having a lot of break-ins in our neighborhood. We have video of the perpetrator or the people that were doing it. But in this very long post, there was no description given of the person doing it. Like, it would be really helpful if you could tell the community who the hell we need to be looking out for, but they refused
exactly
any identifiers. And I'm scratching my head going, why? You get on here and you want to tell us, hey, we need to look out there, but you're not going to give a description of the guy?
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
it's so biased.
Everything is guys. Yeah.
And I find
it doesn't
like,
do anybody
transparency across the board. Transparency is really how we fix this problem with crime statistics and the problem with life in general.
Yeah.
Molly, you see, truth, the Bible says, is an offense unto the world. So when you tell the truth on a matter, it's going to offend a certain group of people. So
it doesn't matter. I don't care about
matter. Exactly. Especially when 5 companies own all the mainstream media and they all are parroting their talking points.
Agard and BlackRock own them.
And BlackRock own them.
Yeah.
and then some other private equity firm,
Yeah,
and then you go up to the 13 families,
it's
the
easy
DuPont,
to say that we're tiny cogs in a
Rockefellers.
big machine, but like, what's the point? Like, so is there just any point in complaining about anything in the world? Like, you're not going to be able to do anything about it because like
you
Big
do
Brother owns
things
it?
It's gonna be hopeless for sure.
that would be nihilist. That would be taking the black pill instead of the red pill. The red pill only means that you're awake to what the hell's going on. You're not 51% of the populace that's got their head up their ass. You're the 49% that know the truth and are willing to wake up as many people as you can. And that's what we do. Everybody on this panel right now tonight has taken the proverbial red pill. You have discerned enough to know that we're in some sort of a matrix, whether it be political, economical, societal, racial, whatever term you want to put on it, and know that we're being lied to. We've had the flim-flam pulled on us since probably, I would estimate 1913, starting at the Federal Reserve, we started getting our ass raped by the federal government. You understand what I mean?
I wanted to say something.
Report
What's the solution?
Statistics then.
What is the solution? Is that what you're asking? I'm sorry.
Well, what's in it for these 5 companies that are conspiring against us then? What's in it for them to, but who's giving them money?
Control.
It doesn't matter.
I see your hand, but like, who's giving them money to?
Okay, so let me give you an example. BlackRock, for example, a private equity firm, owns so many corporations in this country that you can't fathom. Lobbyist groups that control your 435 representatives of the House of Representatives and your 100 senators, and then the families that control them, which can't even be named, which don't appear on the Forbes list, which own trillions of dollars of economic control over the globe. Right. You start pitching. You understand? These are the people.
So how does that affect? How does that affect the commander from Washington, D.C.? How does that affect that man?
Sure does. Because if you don't have a job, you can't make money that is printed by the Federal Reserve, which was printed established in 1913. You can't make money to feed your family. So what you have to do is you have to do one or two options. You either have to bow the knee or you have to go off grid. Now, you tell me what man or woman in this society has the balls to go off grid and play by the rules that they know to be true? Or do they play by the system?
Some places you can't even go off the grid there, red pill.
Well, the premise of what I'm saying is true.
So then you're part of that system. But so then you were part of that system. No?
No.
How not? You're being paid
as much as I can be. You have to detach yourself as much as you can be. Now,
you're still getting federal money. So how is it that you can
how am I getting federal money?
But because you worked in a prison.
What, you mean 10 years ago?
But you're saying that this dude from DC.
I don't draw retirement. I make money off my own back and the sweat of my own brow alone.
Okay. Let's say you were still, so BlackRock only started, and this whole conspiracy for crime statistics started after you left the prison system. And now everybody, including your brother-in-law and I, are all part of some big conspiracy of money laundering.
You're unwittingly part of it. And you don't have any option. That's my point. The only way to win at this game, Molly and Randy and Chris, is not to play. You have to remember, these people that are getting rich off of your back are funding endless wars,
I don't know if we can slip through the cracks, though. I don't know if that's an option.
Sure you can. You just have to have the balls to do so. You just have to go exempt on your tax forms and say, I'm not funding this machine
Jack.
that funds genocide.
You first. Let me know how it goes.
I've already done it. So what now? What you want to say now? I've already done it.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, like I'm not. What I want to get at is like what. I get that it's so easy to blame the big machine. It's so easy to blame the shadow people, or it's so easy to whatever. But like, we're people that are talking to other people like us now. And I think that it's important to be transparent about ways that we can affect all of this flim-flamming and smokescreen.
Would you like me to address it? I'll tell you how to do it.
Sure.
Consume less. Consume less. You see, we are a consumer-driven economy. The things that you do, the things that you purchase, all benefit people that are lining their pockets on the backs of your sweat equity.
At least think of your money as a vote. Think of your money like
Thank you.
voting. Yeah.
See, Chris, I'm glad I'm not alone in this. Chris knows what I'm saying, and to be truthful, you and Randy know both that what I'm telling you is true.
Yeah.
You have to deny the beast. These people are getting rich off of these padded crime statistics because private prisons and even your state prisons are being funded by your tax dollars, which you go out every day and you pour your sweat and your blood and your effort into every single day of your life. And they take that money and they fund their own pockets to the tune of a bologna sandwich and a dried apple pie for the inmates that they visit. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, so it's funny because my mom is in the chat and she will tell you that I have been boycotting businesses since I was like 14, 15 when it came to L'Oreal, Procter & Gamble that were doing animal testing. She'll tell you that I put a sign on the refrigerator door that said murder begins at breakfast. I was pretty big into boycotts and stuff, even way back then. Now I belong to an Amish herd share and I get my produce from local places and I don't go to big, stupid things as much as I can help. But I think it's beyond that. I mean, you're on the internet, you've paid for a computer, you've paid for some internet service. Like you really can't get away from all of it. Going off the grid protects yourself, but doesn't change politics. And I think that's totally right. It's like, you can say, there's like the black pillars that just refuse to vote because what's the point? It's two birds of the same feather. But I don't know. I think I'm a fighter, and I'm not going to just say, well, it doesn't matter because the media is owned by 5 companies, so screw it, and there's no point in illuminating anything. If I truly felt that the media owns everything, like we're the media tonight, boys. Like we're the ones that are
exactly, and that's why you do what you can, where you can. You understand?
I want to say something when he's done. Good, brother-in-law.
My mom's in the chat saying that I was a ball of laughs. I'm still a ball of laughs, and you know.
And everybody on the stream, I'm not being judgmental. I'm just being real. We have to do what we can in the space that we have.
Brother-in-law, face to face, me and you have these conversations, and you and I know what time it is. But I kind of wanted to talk about something a few miles back. I don't want people seeing this video and thinking, "Oh, this guy's laughing at black crime or white people getting profiled." And I know this from a little while back, but we kind of moved forward. The issue is it's a form of racism. And I know the left and liberals are always using that word for, oh, you don't believe in climate change or you don't believe in getting the jab, you're a racist. These idiots don't even know what a woman is. What I'm saying is when you do crime, you hurt people who look like you. So when they hold white people accountable and they say, oh, the criminal was white. That keeps all of the victims of those white criminals safe. When they say we're going to hide who the person was and we're not going to tell you that it was a black person, that person is free to go hurt more black people. So these morons accidentally on purpose hurt black people.
Yeah.
So I wasn't laughing that they keep white people accountable. I was laughing like, I can see what you guys are doing.
It's kind of like the immigration thing a little bit, because nobody ever thinks about where these people are all leaving this area, what's left behind. Just the cartels and the people that can't leave. So you go, oh, immigration's so great, but what about the people that are being left behind? I mean, there's never that presence of thought, and when they feel like they're doing good by not giving the identity of some criminal, you're absolutely right. They are harming the very people who they believe they're helping. It just works kind of backwards like that. There's a lot of that, though.
Yeah, like Blade Runner, were the only people that were left that couldn't go to the off-world colony were the sick, ill, and injured. Like, all the losers stayed behind.
Yeah. Oh, and then for Comstat, YouTube, The Wire, Comstat. So The Wire, the TV show, Comstat. It explains everything we said on the show tonight. I'm not endorsing the show. It just explains what happened.
Yeah,
and
that's funny because my old partner from West LA sent me that clip today, Ted.
Oh, see? Awesome.
Yeah, about how these statistics better be 5% lower by the end of the year. You're going to be looking for another job. Is that the one that you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's like, if it's like with dating apps, like if every guy on there is like 6'1", you better be 6'2", right? So like everybody is like trying to like lie. But the problem is like if we don't acknowledge it, and whether that any truth, whether that's like, hey, we have crime in this neighborhood, or hey, not everybody is 6'2". If we don't acknowledge reality, then it's just like, who's lying more? And this is not the world we want to live in.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris. I know you haven't said much tonight. Good. I was going to say something.
Oh, go ahead. Everybody's interrupting you. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you let's say your identity comes first, or your ideology comes first. So these people come over and they're Alaskan and they're with the ICE church, and they're like, you know what? We really like sleeping with blonde girls, whether they want to or not. We start taking reports on that. Oh, you must hate people from Alaska, and you must hate people from the ICE religion. No, we're trying to keep people who look like Molly safe. These grooming gangs in the UK, or if illegals come over and kill people. Oh yeah, but you guys already have crime in your country. Oh, great idea. Let's add some more people that like to kill people. That awesome idea. So you have to push truth. It might reflect poorly. Molly, I can't create a human being. You can. So me and Chris can't be angry that, oh, she can make a human being with her body. Or men build more bridges. These friggin' men are building all the bridges. You have to look at life for what life is, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever. You're a little kid, you get all your meals for free, but you can't drive the car. You're an old man, all of us are going to take care of you, and you have all of that experience. So everything bad that comes with it, oh, as an old man, you're pooping on yourself, or as a little kid, you're pooping on yourself. So that's all, just true. Accept the truth.
That was disgustingly profound, bestie.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Amen.
If you don't mind, I'd like to ask a question. We kind of understand that the system doesn't currently work. What might work better? I kind of think that we should make police service almost like military service. Like, you should, instead of picking up a rifle and going to some other country to kill non-white people somewhere else, you could be right here in America doing some good. But that's the only way that we say we serve our country. You got to join the armed services and go do what I just described. But that I would like to see. I know that kind of leans into like a national police force, which is kind of scary, but I think it would be better if you had people that were from your community, from your area, were the cops in your area. There might be fewer problems. If you run into somebody that you perhaps know or you're familiar with it, I guess what I'm thinking of is sort of like a small town kind of mentality. where small town cops often know everybody they deal with on a personal basis. They might go to church with them, or they went to school with them, or they're at least familiar with them, instead of being a completely random kind of thing. I don't know if community policing kind of idea would work or something like that.
It does.
I don't know what you got? Yeah.
May I interject, brother-in-law?
Go ahead, brother-in-law. You got it.
So I think Chris is exactly correct.
Same here.
Wherever you see a problem, you need to engage that problem at its smallest capacity. So if you can deal with said problem at the local level, I think that's exactly what you should do. Because when you start getting to where it's state level and national level, the more resources needed to combat said problem. So what is the most local level we can combat the crime problem at? It's the family.
Great.
Whether they be white, black, Hispanic, yellow, polka dotted, green, I don't give a shit. Whatever, you need to combat the problem there and have mothers giving the the feminine energy to the children and the masculine energy for fathers to balance the child in the home. Because whether the mainstream media or not wants to admit it, whatever is stealing, killing, raping, murdering, whatever, came out the front or the back door of somebody's home. So somebody needs to discipline and regulate that child before they start to interact with society, to where they are disciplined to the point to where they know right from wrong. And this is where we have failed as a society, as the church, so to speak, for those who have a religious connotation, and those we have at a government. We have let Big Daddy government be the mama and daddy for these children, Gen Z, millennials, etc. Gen X, pretty much everyone on this panel is the last feral generation. We are the last generation raised to where you better have your ass in the house before the street light come on, or you're going to get your butt beat. We're the last generation of that. And everybody else has been left to their own because they've had the advent of the internet, social media, smartphones, etc. Everybody I can look at your faces, and everybody on this program had a phone on the wall with a rotary dial and an 80-foot cord that you could strangle yourself together with your mama talking to Aunt Bootsy. You understand what I mean? Everybody here, we're the last feral generation.
So then what do you do about the parents that aren't parenting? Because you see this little shitbirds and the parents make all these excuses and turn over the picture of them and their like 6-year-old soccer photo. And instead of just coming to terms with the reality of like, you've raised a criminal piece of garbage.
Do you want my honest answer, Molly? I'm certain you do.
Do you need me to just say yes so that you can finish your sentence?
Yes, I do, actually. That way, I don't get held accountable later on down the road. Do you want my honest answer?
Again?
I do.
So for like pedophilia, I'm gonna give you examples. Pedophilia, rape, murder. You know what we need in the public again? Public execution.
I'll disagree with you there on the account that life is suffering, and I sure in the hell don't want to let that guy off the hook. If I can keep his ass alive for as long as I can,
Wait, so-
and make his ass work for
Well, I don't want to pay for his McDoubles every year.
Are you saying that to execute parents that let their kids go out the back door to commit crimes?
Yes, kill them all.
Well, it depends on what you degree as a child. What age would you put on a child that is now an adult? What age would you put on that?
Well, and so as a detective, we have the Gladys R questionnaire to ask children. Can you give me an example of doing the right thing? Can you give me an example of doing the wrong thing? This thing that we're talking about today, do you think that you did the right thing or the wrong thing? What do you think the punishment should be? To find out where they are mentally, to know that if they are cognitively able to know that stabbing their parents was a crime or not. Because it doesn't just happen at 18 that all of a sudden you get the world. So
I didn't see there was some kind of arbitrary number where you determine whether or not somebody knows that stabbing your parents to death is wrong.
Well, but so the law says at 18, and then prior to that, that's why you have the Gladys R questionnaire.
Well, just because something's legal doesn't mean it's just. And we have a justice system.
Okay, but I'm just looking in terms of like practicality. What do you, because parents are busy, they're working, they don't give a shit. And
why is that? So until about 1950,
I mean, I could give you a million reasons, but
I know.
The economy sucks. It takes multiple people to run a household now.
But when did that shift take place?
I mean, we've had all these problems economically, but I don't think that means you should be a shitty parent. There are kids that are just bad seeds as well. I mean, I know having a brother and sister.
We're talking about numbers. We're talking about the majority versus the minority. So, yes. So when do you think that the majority of parents were raising their children correctly versus not correct? Give me a number.
I mean, I don't guess at statistics, and I don't think that statistics are already hard and fast, like we've already determined. It just depends on which way you cut it.
So it's all relative, right?
One of the perspectives that we sort of lost because we don't have large families anymore. My father came from 7 children, my mom the same. So there used to be much larger families. But one of the things that we kind of lost sight of is that sometimes parents will raise 5 or 6 really good, well-to-do children. They're accomplished, they're married, everything successful in every way imaginable. But they'll have that one kid that just won't fly right, no matter how much they help them. They're just a constant punch. Some people are just that way, and it doesn't matter. It isn't a matter of there was a bad parenting or whatever. That's just human nature.
Yeah, I agree. I think there are bad seeds, and I also think that that parents need to be responsible for what their kids do. And there's a big talk right now, especially this week with this latest Minnesota Pew Pure, that the parents. And I've seen reports that the dad was CIA, which also brings into MK Ultra kind of side angle. And the mom has already skipped town and lawyered up apparently, but they helped their child transition. And he just committed this whole thing, a whole manifesto about, I don't know what you're putting on there. So I'll stop my frame of thought.
Sorry.
Read your background for you.
You said CIA.
Bernie Sanders?
Oh, okay.
No, it's the old Casey, the director of the CIA.
Yes, Bernie Sanders.
Anything.
Was it Colonel Sanders? Who's that white guy back there?
Yeah, he's getting some chicken ready.
But so there have been an inordinate amount of trans mass pew-pewers, and just as we're talking about some radical reformation,
the CIA. Sorry.
I kind of wanted to cook on that for a little bit, if you guys don't mind.
Mom, can I throw something in there, Molly?
Yeah.
So you guys all know me, Mr. middle of the line, like Mr. Fence Sitter, Mr. Milk Toast. That's not who I am. I stand for certain stuff. But I kind of wanted to agree with everybody, even though I think we're having a violent agreement. So Chris is correct. There's always going to be that one bad person. But I think technology has brought all of those crazy basement uncles together, all the gangs together. And I'm not saying before there was an internet, there wasn't gangs. I'm just saying it's been mainlined and mainstreamed, and the girl who's twerking and showing off her pregnant stomach, she's getting a music deal. The guy who's rapping about how he drives through the hood shooting people, he's getting I shouldn't have said that. Bad people are getting uplifted and thrown to the front. So it's more mainstreamed and mainlined to where, hey, go out and sleep with everybody if you're a woman. It's woman's lib. If you're a dude, the more violent you are, the cooler you are. Hollywood backs it up. The media backs it up. I think we've always just had bad people. It's just being shown more, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, whatever. It's being shown more and it's being celebrated.
I'm sorry. The same people who promote all that shit also own stocks in all the private prisons. So they got it on both ends.
Chris, you and I can get into it about how in the 90s, the prison industrial complex met with rappers and they moved us away from Will Smith rapping about summertime to I'm driving to the hood and I'm pew-pewing people who look like me. So
when's the last song you heard? They don't, there isn't that. It's
use drugs, sell drugs, use women, get money. Nothing about my family, nothing about I came home from work roofing. So it's all negatives. But to Molly's point about the pew-pewing, it is, I'm not even going to say anything. I'll just answer whatever is asked concerning it.
Well, so I taught interview and interrogation tactics, body language, and lie detection for the Los Angeles Police Department. So I have sat with many people of many different crimes, witnesses, victims, and suspects. And one of the things that we taught, so the vast majority of people are emotional offenders, and they feel bad about the things that they do. And that is how you speak to them on an emotional level. And that's how you get confessions. Now, for teenagers and sociopaths and another demographic that is cultural, although you'll say it's racial, but it's cultural, they are factual analysis. They are more ego driven. And so you speak to them in a totally different way. And so when I was thinking about this whole trans shooter situation, parents used to be proud of good kids, and now they're proud of objects, looks, and superficial stuff. I don't think that's just Z.
We did that.
I don't think that's even just parents. I think that's a lot of kids. And I think one thing that has all these like recent shooters, and I mean, I have pages and pages of them. Including the new one from this week.
Really quick, I wanted to throw something in. People don't understand the difference between culture and color, because culture is how you do things. So you can go to the Midwest and there's a bunch of white kids and they're playing rap and they're in lowriders and they're acting like what you would say, oh, they're acting black. They're not acting black. They're what is it called? They're doing a culture. So say I'm listening to country and I got on my country boots and my belt buckle. Oh, he's acting, I'm not acting white. I'm acting country or Southern or whatever you want to call it. So reason I just brought that up is because when you said culture instead of color, liberals, the left, progressive, and Democrats do not understand the difference between culture and color. They think it's all the same thing.
Yeah, but that's why I didn't even bring it up, because it's like, I mean, I was like, oh my God, a Valley girl in the 80s. And we had Black girls in my school that talked like this also. And so being a Valley girl isn't really just like a white thing, like it's a Valley girl thing. Yep. But yeah, there was no point in mentioning that particular culture, but just to say that there are certain people that we speak to differently. And the one thing that I notice in this new generation is that the ego is just huge, and there's a lot less emotional offenders and a lot more people that are driven by ego. And what I notice with all these like manifestos from these people, and this new one is no different, this Robert Westman, aka Robin Westman, was that he went on diatribe, just like, and as an interrogator, like that would be just such good stuff to get such a background on him if I was able to interview him, because you have somebody that's written this like huge manifesto. I have a picture of it someplace here, and some of it is like in Russian or Ukrainian or some shit. Like, this is somebody who wants you to know everything about them. This is somebody who's so ego driven that wants so badly to be relevant, to be feared, to be in the news, to make a name for himself. And he had written all over his instruments all kinds of nonsense. And you could just chalk it up to saying that this dude was crazy, just like the other one that left a big manifesto that we didn't get to see for 100 years, because let's hide the fact that they were trans. But one thing that I think is a thread that is common with this particular demographic is this mindset of, one, they don't like who they are organically. They hate themselves internally. And maybe if I do this, that, the other, whatever, that I will get more attention or like myself. And so they are so focused on themselves to the point where they are willing to do terrible things to fish in a barrel that have no chance of fighting back. And that was something that this latest one went through and did say, was that they intentionally targeted this particular set of circumstances because they were unarmed and defenseless. And this piece of shit wasn't looking for a fair fight. This piece of shit was looking to make a name for themselves. And so I think I just want to say, get on the record, like a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, we can't even talk about it. And like the statistics are basically nil. We do have demographics, but again, according to Statista, that white shooters are the most likely to commit these mass shootings. But what you're looking at is male whites, mostly male whites, and they're not looking at that other demographic. Randy, you and I talked about it earlier. If you guys listen to the same heavy metal band, if you all play the same video game, if you all went to this one summer camp, if you all bought non-cotton socks from some like weird Chinese sweatshop, like there might be some statistic that we could use to say, shit, this makes you more likely to do this. So we need to look at that. And this is not representative of the statistics of how many of these mass incidents we have. It's an inordinate, disproportionate amount that are of this particular mindset.
Yeah,
and so
mass shooters are not white.
What you're having is convenient truth, and what's happening is, and I'm stealing this from you. Oh, Chris won the lottery. She's super happy. Let's respect Chris's pronouns and identity. Chris goes and does a mass pew pew. Now all of a sudden, Chris is back to being what Chris is. Does that make sense? What I'm saying is, they
that
won't
was something that was really good on this one, is that the news is saying his gun, he did this, his parents, blah, blah, blah. Like suddenly we're not respecting pronouns anymore.
Correct. Right. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm getting at.
Do you think that it's possible that any of this is fake? Is that even conceivable, or is it you just feel there's too much evidence, there's too much stuff they're coming up with, there's no way it's fake? Because
I'm not going to pull an Alex Jones and get and falsely
that was all
claim.
a show trial anyway. But yeah,
not to him. He suffered greatly about the whole thing. I think it's real for these parents. Are you saying that the parents are made up? That these kids are made up?
It's possible that the entire scenario is made up.
But what's the point? But so you can't play both sides of the fence, though. If you're saying that the media owns everything and they don't want you to know that this problem exists, what?
I said they lie about every damn thing.
But what would be the point? Then just lie about how there's more daisies this spring than any other spring. And why lie on both?
Leverage gun control on the people, especially Americans. You're going to have to convince them slowly over time that guns are bad. And a way you do that is by having these horrible events. Now, whether they're actually fully staged or 100% fake or it's a Manchurian candidate, I don't know. But I do know that there is some interest in the powers that be wanting these kind of events to happen or faking these kind of events. And they're
right. But okay, let's say that that's 100% true and that every single one of these mass events was only to further this idea that we need to disarm good people.
I wouldn't go as far as say every single event, but I would say the ones that get wall-to-wall coverage, 24-hour news coverage, and they just won't shut up about it for days. And it just goes on and on. Those are the fake ones, I think, because there's a lot of mass shootings that happen all around the country that we never hear of. It doesn't ever make the news. And I mean, if you got a group of 4 kids that are driving around the city of Chicago, and in 9 different instances they stop the car and shoot whoever's on the side of the road.
Because it's a different kind of mentality.
Well, right. They're counting that as 9 separate shootings and not a mass shooting event when in reality it should be called a mass shooting event. And it's like, why don't we ever hear about these events? We never hear about the perpetrators. Their parents never go to court for weapons problems or anything else like that. But these other trials that we have just seem like it's show trial. It's like
you wouldn't throw
and all this other stuff. Do these guys that are so whacked out of their mind really have the presence of mind to go through and write this elaborate thing and buy expensive weaponry and etch stuff on it? I mean, it took a lot of preparation and a lot of time to think about it and to still go through with it.
But all this dude does is think about himself. That's all he does. He doesn't.
People out there like that.
You never see any of these mass incident people that are winners in life. They're always losers.
Well, right. They always write the script. It's always, it's pretty much like the same old story. I'm surprised the FBI hasn't already come out and said, yeah, we were looking at the guy. I think that's
where the cover-up is. The cover-up is with the FBI.
But so, okay, when you're talking about 2 different crimes. One is a kind of person that targets one location with multiple people in it. And the other is this gang mentality of driving around the city. Now, the problem with it as a law enforcement perspective is that I drive into Randy's jurisdiction and do one in your jurisdiction and your jurisdiction. And every single one of your jurisdictions gets a detective assigned to the case. And it takes a lot of work before we figure out, hey, wait, you had that kind of car too? Yeah. Oh, our mine's connected. Okay, give us all the cases. And then you can do it as one crime and one prosecution. But I mean, obviously you go shoot fish all in the same barrel, and that's easy to call it a mass incident because of the nature of it. And I think that just law enforcement in general has just said, like, well, gang crime's going to gang crime. I mean, since this whole 2020 bullshit and defunding, it's like, well, the left is telling us basically that if we do anything against gang members, that we're racist. So, and not all gangs are one color, but okay, we're racist. So they have really, I mean, LAPD used to have the crash unit, and you can look into it, but they were very fucking hardcore. Very hardcore. They didn't put up with shit, and they put a lot of people away. When the gang unit was then revamped and then called the gang enforcement detail, which is what I worked, it was a much softer approach, and it was more about trying to find certain people to be snitches and, and to procure information and more about data collection and helping the detectives and less about being on the street getting in people's pockets. So law enforcement has changed a lot. But what I can say for these mass events, and I mean, it's not just the trans people, there are other ones too, but these demographics, so this is trans males, trans females are the top two, and we have Hispanic men down here. And this is by, I don't know who it's by. I took a screenshot and I must have cut that out. But the important part. And so I guess the one thing that I wanted to say that we haven't heard on every single freaking news station is what we do about it. And I think I have a fresh take, and maybe I don't know. But I can say that in talking to people, that I've gotten a big insight as to why people commit crimes and why this mentality commits this particular kind of crime. And what I can say is that they all have this fantasy that they are going to somehow be more important after doing this. And that's what we need to take away. Instead of talking about them, and I mean, I could have listed off a dozen names and win of each one. I think what we do is we bring back shame. And I saw it in the chat. Parents used to be... when values were what matters, society shunned bad, unkind, etc. And I think what we do is, after one of these events, instead of looking at this piece of shit as, oh, poor guy, and his parents helped him to transition, and, he was just like lost, and look at him, he's a victim of, society, and he hated his life. No. I think what we need to do as a society is decide that for every one of these people, that what we're going to do is dig so deep into their past and make it all public. Every time you pissed your pants in elementary school, every time you got a pimple, every time somebody said no to you when you asked them out, and we shame them for the losers that they are, because this kind of behavior is loser behavior. And all this person wanted to be is important, and we're letting them be important every time we're treating them like they're a victim.
Molly, you might have just hit on something though. What I was talking about earlier with siblings. Kids aren't growing up with siblings anymore. We don't have several brothers and sisters. Kids nowadays don't have to learn humility, don't have to share, don't have to do a lot of things. So it is very, self-centered. Their entire existence is geared that way.
But even just look at social media, because they're on social media and like everybody like, oh, Chris posted his breakfast, I better like it. And like, oh, Randy posted a meme, I better like it. And like, we've become this really egotistical society where like, oh, how many followers do you have? And like, that's why like on my shows, like I never ask people to like or subscribe or anything. Cause like, you either like what we talk about or you don't. And like, that's fine. I'm not trying to like, do anything with this, but
Molly, I wanted to say something to Chris. One of the weak points, and I'm not saying the right is perfect or anything like that, but one of the weak points with the left is they don't even accidentally make sacrifices, if that makes sense. So they'll do some stupid thing and not realize, let's defund the police. Oh, crime went up. And it doesn't occur to them. So for them to on purpose throw a trans incident type person under the bus isn't in their wheelhouse. Like, that would be super diabolical. And I actually don't think they're capable of it. Because when you said, you think they faked it?
I said it's possible that they could have faked. I think it's a possibility.
Anything's possible.
Because they
but what they would have done is they would have said it's a male white. It would have been perfect for them. It would have been a male white actor who was a Christian and conservative and Trump supporter, and
they would have went all the outrage from every angle that they can. They want everybody kind of at each other, so they want religious to be angry with trans and vice versa. And this is a way to kind of cause agitation between those two groups. As you,
That's actually a really good point.
Well, this
fall
gets
flat
the
between them.
statistic of white male. This gets the statistic of white male. And so many of the other ones as well are just going to be considered white male. And I'm just asking for you to bean count in another direction. And to be honest and transparent with it. Actually, I've missed a bunch of the chat. And so Dee Doss, the Supernatural Truth, is in the chat. Public Enemy. Hello, friend. And then Pammy Rutledge. I'm so glad that the great state of Texas passed no more cell phones in school during the curriculum day. Students now have real conversations with each other, focus better in class, and less fights. And I would love to see what happens over time after we've unplugged them. I know that I've had little people around me in my life that have absolutely gone bananas if their stuff isn't juiced and like in their face, and like it's really just the great pacifier to adults too. And so Pammy says she's a little behind in the show, so my comment may not make sense, but it does. And all I'm saying is that I think we have to look at it in a different way, because I think it's a mindset that I think you can break out of them. If I have this super egotistical mentality where I'm like writing a manifesto, I mean, that is a point of narcissism that is huge. And I want everybody to know my name, and I'm going to do something where everybody's going to know it's me. And then I have that thought and that fear of like, oh shit, everybody's going to know that I failed the third grade, and everybody's going to know that one time that this happened, and everybody's going to know that, you know, my dad was a stripper, and everybody's going to know like all this stuff. And the whole world is going to be looking into every flaw in my whole life. And you have this like, because with ego, you still have an awareness of like who other people think that you are. And so you're always kind of fighting that. And I think if you bring on that like shame of, if you do this, we're all going to hit the internet. I mean, just like shit, look at the whole Bridget McCrone thing and how like long that's gone, where nobody's given a shit about who Bridget McCrone is. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, this guy writes this book. Okay. Nobody really read it until Candace Owens did this whole like expose. And now everybody's like, oh my God, looking into every single time that a picture that could be, and the connection to MK Ultra and this and that. And like, and all of a sudden everybody is like, holy shit. And if you want to be known, we can give you that kind of attention, but it's not going to be in the way that you want. And I think that could avert a future of these losers trying to make a name for themselves.
1 second. Chris actually said something kind of good with in my debate, and I always give credit to or concessions to. So there have been Black people who have been shot and they're unarmed by the cops, and no one said anything. And I know it wasn't politically expedient. But what happened, in my opinion, is I think it's what Chris said. Let's get everybody angry. So when the cops shoot some guy who just did rob a bank, and they're like, oh, look, they're just shooting innocent Black bank robbers, everyone gets pissed. So it kind of goes back to what you're saying, Chris, where let's kind of throw everybody in there. Let's get the religious community pissed off. Let's get these people pissed off. Let's get that pissed off. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm just saying your point was pretty good.
Yeah. I have a short video. I was wondering if I could share it with you guys. It's like 3 minutes long of Eric Holder. I don't know if that would be okay or not.
Yeah. Do you know how to do it? Because I don't.
I will.
We're at the 2-hour mark. So after this, we'll wrap up. So while you figure it out, Pammy's in the chat saying mental hospitals need to return. Transgenderism, dysphoria was always classified as a mental disorder. At some point, they removed the medical classification.
Yes, I'm fine.
That is true. I mean, and if you, and I'll say, Pammy, I mean, there are mental illnesses like anorexia that we haven't determined make you more likely to commit a mass event, although it is a mental disorder. And so if this particular mental disorder, and what we're finding out, and in fact, Tucker Carlson today released a video, and I know RFK Jr. has spoken on it as well, about these SSRIs and this medication that has consequences, and some of them can lead to people being more violent. And I feel like that should be looked at. I mean, take a male that is taking estrogen. I mean, this is going to sound wrong at the beginning of the sentence, but Randy, you should know that when you take a certain kind of drug, like let's say methamphetamine, well, I just mean because you were a street cop and you saw a lot of people on drugs. When you take a lot of meth, it'll make you stay awake for days, and then you crash because your body is always trying to seek a homeostasis. You go above the line, it's going to try to send you below the line until you balance out. Is it possible that men with natural testosterone that are going below the line with some estrogen, that your body is trying to pump stuff up like testosterone, which can also testosterone and that whole, all that, those hormones can make more aggression, potentially violence. So you've got somebody that's got that violence that already has that ego, and that's what's causing this kind of problem. And if medication is part of the equation, I think it's something that we really need to look at.
That was what I was going to say. One thing that all mass shooters have in common, whether you're trans, straight, black, white, whatever, almost all of them are on heavy duty pharmaceuticals, like mind altering stuff. If you look at Adderall, that's just like one chemical bond away from being meth. Go look up some of the side effects of taking Adderall and the stuff that we give to children. It's almost a psychotic medication for psychotics, like bipolar disorder and shit, that kind of thing. It's almost the same stuff, and that's what we're giving to these kids. And then we wonder why, kids that are taking Ritalin and Adderall and that kind of stuff have a 14 times more higher suicide rate than a normal kid. So and
the trans issue and suicide too.
Are we going Senate taking people to court over that? No. Well, we're going to take the gun manufacturers. Give me a break. That was so fake, but. I did have that video up. I don't know if you want to share it.
Okay, so let me see if I can do this.
And I'm just saying that a lot of the stuff that when it comes to crime statistics, a lot of it could be faked.
I want to have, as part of the gun initiative, an informational campaign to really change the hearts and minds of people in Washington, D.C., and in particular our young people. They are saturated in the media and in entertainment, or by the entertainment industry, with violence. And I think too many of our young people, in particular our young men, are fascinated with violence, and in particular fascinated with guns. And what we need to do is change the way in which people think about guns, especially young people, and make it something that's not cool, that it's not acceptable, it's not hip to carry a gun anymore. In the way in which we've changed our attitudes about cigarettes. When I was growing up, people smoked all the time. I mean, both my parents did. But over time, we changed the way in which people thought about smoking. And so now we have people who cower outside of buildings and kind of smoke in private and don't want to admit it. And that's what I think we need to do with guns, really change the way in which people think about guns. Now, this is not going to be something that's very easy to do because we are, quite frankly, fighting something that appears every day on television, on the radio, in our popular music, in movies that these kids are exposed to. It will be an effort that will entail things that I'm really not familiar with. I think I'm a pretty good lawyer, but we need to get really innovative, creative things that are going to grab the attention of these kids and change, as I said, the way in which they think about guns. And so what I've asked is that the creative community in Washington, those ad agencies that create these snappy ads and make me buy things that I don't really need, devote that talent in a more constructive way so we can get at the minds of these young people. This informational campaign, I've also called on the newspapers and the television stations to devote to us time and space so that we can get these ads, so we can use these spots, and not to give us 1, 2 o'clock in the morning ads when nobody's watching, but at the time when people, particularly young people, are watching television, so that when they're watching, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or Martin or whatever else they watch, and I watch those things once in a while, so that they'll see these ads and they'll be grabbed by these ads. I've also asked people who have influence over youngsters, entertainers, athletes, to be involved in this program as well. But not only them, community leaders, Jesse Jackson, Mayor Barry, people who have credibility with young people should be on the television, on the radio, as much as we possibly can, and telling these youngsters that it's wrong to carry a gun, and that if you have information about people who are carrying guns, you've got to share that with Chief Thomas and with his people as well. I've also asked the school board to make a part of every day some kind of anti-violence, anti-gun message. Every day, every school, at every level. One thing that I think is clear with young people and with adults as well is that we just have to be repetitive about this. It's not enough to simply have a catchy ad on a Monday and then only do it every Monday. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way. We also want to have a hotline that we will set up and have the number of that hotline that you just go out there, and that would be something that people would have emblazoned in their minds so that when they see a gun or become familiar about the facts of a gun crime, they would call that hotline and pass that information on.
Okay, so the reason I shared that was Eric Holder was Attorney General, or Deputy Attorney General under Clinton, and then I think he was U.S. Attorney General under Obama. And since he gave that speech, we've had hundreds and hundreds of shootings. And I guess that's just, their way of kind of coming out and telling us what they're going to do. I don't know if this particular shooting was fake because I really haven't looked into the details enough. However, just at a glance, the manifesto, the tagged up weapons and all that stuff just looks real suspicious to me. I don't know. When people lose it, they don't tend to do that. I know because I've lost it before, so I didn't.
Well, but you can lose it in a different way.
Well, I mean,
I've been in people's houses that have mental illness, and they write all over the walls. They write everywhere. They're like constantly like their thoughts are out. And laws only get followed by law abiders. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting that he said that we need to brainwash them into thinking differently about guns, because my idea is like, you need to like make sure like, and go home and tell your parents that they need to get a gun, because your parents should be the ones keeping you safe. And if you see anything, let us know, and blah, blah, blah. And kids shouldn't have guns, but you should be safe. And at no point is he saying like, well, we need more good guys at school with guns and we need to do something about the bullies. It's just like, don't you carry a gun? It's like, well, if you're going to a high school where there's a bunch of crime and stuff, I don't want to be a victim. I'm going to shoot you first. And that's that mentality of like, disarm me. Like, I want to live. And
Molly, what steps inside is so like UK, they took all the guns away and they have the identity politics thing going on. And there was a young girl, she had like an axe and a knife, and they go arrest her. But this guy's trying to do all this other horrible stuff to her. Let's not mess with him because he's part of a religion and he's from a region that we really like, and we don't want to be
group.
Yeah, we don't want to be.
He had already touched the 12. I saw some other stuff on it today. There's this really amazing guy that I follow on Facebook, and he has no idea how amazing he is. He does the deepest dives. But apparently this guy who's videotaping it, well, I won't even tell you the backstory, but there was a lot of backstory to it. And even if you just look at the perspective of the video that was released, she starts walking towards him with the hatchet. And where does he go? Fucking nowhere. So he has no fear against this little girl. And like, to me, brandishing is like, well, there's got to be some like fear element. If you're in a sword shop and I show you a sword, is that brandishing? Like, so terrible. And I've got a very dear friend of mine that lives in London, and she is terrified. She cannot leave their place without having somebody there with her. Because it's constant, and she's not a little like defenseless girl. This is like a loudmouth bitch that you better look out for, but she's also beautiful. And so it's like following and the groping and the like blocking her path. It's constant. She cannot go anywhere in London.
But Molly, so that goes to my point. We're either going to have the mindset of not defund the police, not let everybody into the country, and we can take everyone's guns away, and we're not going to try and be communists, and that's cool. But if you're going to defund the police and let's hug a thug and everybody can come over the border and everybody can do whatever they want, and, oh, you're purple, so you're free to go because you've had a hard pass, then I'm keeping my gun. And you need to keep your gun, and he needs to keep his gun. So these people have to pick one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I would never tell you that I would never carry a gun in a gun-free zone, because that is against the rules. But I sure as hell hope that somebody's got some bigger balls to look at that sign and go, fucking mildly interesting, because I'm not going to be a fish in a barrel. And yeah, I might be alive to go to prison, but I'm alive.
What's the mindset of someone? They walk into the mall and they start doing their thing, and then you and I are hiding behind a bookshelf, and you're saying, thank God there's only one gun here and not a bunch of us good guys with guns. Like, what's your mindset where you're like, I'm so glad we can't defend ourselves? And I'm asking, like, how do liberals come up with that, or leftists come up
Yeah,
with?
It's about
I don't
feels,
know.
not reality. It's about how
Yeah,
they feel.
I just like maybe they could come up with a shirt color that they all wear so that we know who's like not armed and who wants to die. Because I don't particularly like if
Well, they were
you,
wearing masks, but now they took them off. So.
but if you believe that
Good
nobody
point,
should
Chris.
have a gun and that if somebody's going to take your life, that that's okay with you. I feel like, as somebody who is willing to go to prison to make sure that you go home to your family today, I would just like a little heads up that you're not going to appreciate me going to prison for you. So if you could just wear like maybe a yellow shirt so that you have a yellow belly, so that I know not to save you because you don't care that I'm going to go to prison. But the rest of us, I would like you to save me, and I'm definitely going to save you. So, well, that went on a little tirade from statistics, but at any rate, I know statistics can be really dull, but I think it really goes to show kind of how we're shifting, especially with the media and just being lied to about freaking everything. And I mean, this was like way before COVID, but I'm just sick of being lied to. And I think that we need to be really transparent.
Doesn't help anybody.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Right, Chris.
And good night, Pammy Rutledge. Okay, so final thoughts, anybody?
I hate the media. Like, my entire soul hates the media. I just been holding on to that for the last 2 hours. Can't
Then
stand media.
underneath your name, instead of saying X this and X that, you should say I hate the media
Next show.
for
I
next
hate
time. Yeah. Hey, we're here Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am Molly Sleuth. Who knows what we're going to talk about next week? I haven't figured it out yet. I am doing I will be doing a stupid Temu show. I love some Chinese garbage. You guys have sent me some really depraved, bizarre stuff. I think I might be ordering some of it just for the what the fuck factor. But if you send me your links to the most bizarre, depraved, strange shit that you could find on Temu to mollysleuth@gmail.com. And if I pick yours, I'll buy it for you. I mean, you know, you could trust me with your address. I'm not going to come over. So, or not, or I just show it on the show and you're a hero to me and my friends. And then that's pretty much it. So I'm going to get us out of here. We're going to play an original Ben McMillan outro for the Molly Sleuth Show. So excited about that. And love you guys. Thanks for coming
Thank
on,
you, Chad.
guys.
Great meeting you, Chris. Good job, Molly.